Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I am your host, Dennis Patholkis, and this is Krypton, Season 2, Episode 5, A Better Yesterday. Welcome, everybody, and welcome to, I think there's just one person in the chat right now. It keeps bouncing back and forth, but hey, Joe, how's it going? Welcome to everybody new that's come on as well. I've had a lot of subscribers recently, and Joe Greer. Hey, what the hell? We got the Joes going on. That's right. It's Krypton. So it's the Joes that happen to come in on, and sometimes and Penn Farm Girl. Hey, how's it going? And Morks. My God, there's a lot of people coming in. Nice. Um, so I'm gonna start with a little bit of business first. Normally I do it at the end, but I've been doing it at the beginning lately, so it's actually I like it a little bit better. If you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button. Also hit the like button down below. If you don't like what you see, you can hit the dislike button. Just I ask you go down in the comment section, tell me what it is you don't like, and give me a little bit of a you know criticism, constructive criticism on that one. There we go. And if you want to see when I'm going to be on live again next, you can hit the bell down below. You can either go into the settings and get as many or as little notifications as you want from that. It's still not a done deal that you're going to get a notification from YouTube. They are kind of funny about that. But if you really want to see what I'm beyond, you can go to suspendedfanimation.com. That's my website. And you can see my schedule. I have it up for the week. Next week's going to be a little bit crazy. It's Comic-Con. So all bets are off as to when things are going to air or if things are going to air because there's going to be a lot of content. And I'm going to be at Comic-Con quite a bit. Friday is going to be a total and complete crapshoot next week because I'm going to go see The Boys, the first 2 episodes of The Boys. So with that said, let's get into this, a little bit. Spoiler alert. I am going to spoil the shit out of this episode. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. Come on back. This will be a video. You can comment down below in the comment section. Thank you, Viking Bitch, for the paddle. Yeah, just get the laser bean eye. I've never heard of the laser bean. Is that a bean that shoots lasers, Pen Farm Girl? I kid. So let's get started here. So we have Jax using her bionic eye to basically scan the killing field now is what it is of the what's left of the bodies of the rebel troops as the Sagittarii are going over and looking at them and cheering that they've their little plan worked and on Wexler and Lyta telling Zod that the resistance army is pretty much all done at this point. So yeah, it's they're pretty much dead. Seg comes in to Zod's little, terminal that he's sitting at there. And Zod, of course, thinks that Seg has been reconditioned. And of course, he hasn't. And Seg starts beating the shit out of Zod because he was able to get past the guards. And, Seg wants Zod to undo what Lyta's reconditioning. And Brainiac tells Seg at one point. So Zod actually asked Seg, "How did you resist the reconditioning? No one's ever done that in the history of Krypton." And Brainiac's like, "Don't answer him because otherwise, he's not going to like the answer." Is what it is because Brainiac is the one that kept him from happening. So we see that Brainiac is now still inside Seg and is reemerging as well. Lyta, by the time returns Keo to Val and Jax, basically saying, "Tell her that I want to meet. Tell them I want to meet, and we're going to negotiate terms of surrender." Is what this is. But she is going to keep that. Adam and Kem and she really doesn't like Adam because Adam was the one who tried to convince Seg to let Zod die and let Brainiac take Kandor in order to keep the continuity of everything going on. But she's kind of pissed at him at this point. She really doesn't like him and remembers him. So Jax, in the meantime, tells Val that Nyssa, was the reason why the rebels are dead because they all had bad oxygenators, of course, faulty oxygenators, and that it was all a setup. And Val is still trying to say that, maybe she had a reason for this, all this kind of stuff. And yeah, I get it, Joe. Everyone's tired. It's late. That's what happens. I got the East Coast feed, so I was able to actually do this early for you guys rather than doing it my time, which would have been 10 o'clock my time, which would have been way late for the rest of you guys. So Nissa runs into the Sagittari out in the on Wexlor there that are looking over the bodies because she found all the bodies, and she basically tells them, "Don't shoot me. I'm with you guys." And the lead Sagittari there says, "Well, you should be proud of yourself. This is all you're doing." She goes, "What do you mean? That information that you gave from Zod was all bad, and that led to their demise and our win." And she finally realizes what the hell she did. She goes, "Oh, so I'm the one that's responsible for all of this." And she's like, "Shit," kind of thing. Yeah. That's when Lida, excuse me, shows up and congratulates her on finally choosing a side, is what she says. And it's like, wow, that's some pretty big bullshit right there. Yeah. So Keo returns back to Jax and tells her, that Lita wants to meet with her and Val and get them to surrender, or negotiate the terms of surrender. And then Keo says, "Is it true that all the rebel forces are dead?" And Jax is like, "Yeah, everyone's dead." Dennis, why is USA promoting Suits on SyFy Network? Because it's all part of the NBC Universal Network. So NBC Universal owns USA, SyFy, and a couple other ones. I can't remember. There's like about 6 or 7 different channels that they own. That's why they're trying to cross promote, because they know that the nerds still like Firefly, and what's her name was on Fire. Gina Torres was on Firefly, and now she's on that spin-off episode. That's the reason why they're doing this. So, and I'll get to your questions at the end here once I do the recap here. So, the Sagittari enter the Outlands bar where Jaina and Dev are known to hang out, and the people there are getting kind of antsy. They're kind of reaching for their guns when the Sagittari take off their helmets, and we see that it's Jaina and Dev. And they're like, "What the hell are you doing?" They're like, "Well, it's good to know that we could still pass the Sagittari." And they said, "Well, we need some people to help us. We're going to break back into Kandor. We're going to take out Zod. We need people to do this." And everybody in the bar is like, "Yeah, fuck that. We're not doing that. You guys go ahead. Have fun dying." And she tries to give a little rousing speech, and of course, no one bites at this point. So in the meantime, Zod is trying to get Seg to see things his way about Lyta and what he's done. And, he wants to leave her as she is because he said that she was broke, essentially, after she had to shoot her mother. And actually, that comes a little bit later about shooting her mother. And all Seg wants is Lyta with free will to come back. And he says that once that happens, she's going to basically side with Seg, and she's going to fight against Zod. And he wants Zod to contact Lyta on Wexlor and get her to come back. But of course, there's a convenient solar flare that's blocking all communication. So of course they have to wait. Dun, dun, dun. So they get a little more father-son time at that point. So Kem and Adam see Nissa with Lita as they're being held captive, and they're like, "What the hell is she doing here?" And Kem says it best. He goes, "Who knows who's on what side anymore at this point?" Which I like Kem. I kind of missed Kem. We need a little bit more of him because he kind of tells it as it is. And Lita gets word that Val and Jax are ready to negotiate. So Jaina and Dev get ready to head to Kandor alone. They're in the skiff. And Jaina basically asked Dev, did you ever think about joining up with the rebels after you left the Sagittari? And he says, briefly, but it's run by Jax. And Jax was the leader of the Black Order, and the Black Order were the people that killed my mother. So, yeah, not going to do that. I'd rather follow you because you were the only person I've ever trusted, and that's where we're going to leave it at. So Zod tells Seg that he took away Lita's pain and guilt over shooting her mother. She had to shoot her mother. And Seg calls Zod out on it. And he goes, "You basically just took away her free will. That pain and guilt is her, pathos for other people, her empathy for other people. and you took that away from her. You took away the best part of her, is what he says, and you did it purposely. Yeah. And once that she's shown the true path of what, shown the truth about Zod, she's going to fight against him and side with him. And Zod says that she made all of her own decisions, and she'll choose Zod over Seg. You watch, is what he says. So Lita ends up, Lyta, excuse me, I keep calling her Lita. It's Lyta, but they pronounce it Lyta because that's just the way it is. It's all sci-fi crap, and they always pronounce names a little bit differently. So Lyta meets Val and Jax and says that, you're surrounded by snipers, so don't try anything funny. And here's the terms of the surrender. You're going to surrender unconditionally. All the rebels are going to go back and get portioned out to different guilds. You guys are going to go to the Science Guild and work for us, and everything's going to be hunky-dory. Or you can die. And Val tells Lyta, you know what? Seg is still alive. And she goes, yeah, I already know. I already talked to him. And everything's good with us. And as a matter of fact, he's back in my bed because that's where he was at when I left him. And Val kind of looks at Lyta, or looks at Jax, and Jax is like, well, they know you pretty well. They know how to get to you. And he goes, well, what do we do now? And Lyta says, we need an answer. What's the answer? And Jax just kind of looks at her, and she's kind of shaking a little bit. And we see her bionic eye light up, and this beam of light comes out and just starts killing all the Sagittari around Lyta, except for Lyta, because she takes her hostage. Yeah. Seg, in the meantime, wants Zod to contact Lyta now because the solar flare is over, when Jax suddenly calls in and makes an all Krypton broadcast and tells Zod, she's got Lyta, of course, and tells Zod that, well, when that happens, Seg is a little bit kind of shaken up a bit and is distracted enough so that Zod is able to knock the gun out of his hand, grab the gun, and put it to Seg's head. At first, I thought they were actually talking to each other via the intercom, and they could see each other, and that they could see that he had taken Seg hostage, but no, that wasn't the case. She's just broadcasting at this point. And Jax gives Zod 1 hour to remove all the Sagittari from Wexlor to take him down in the space elevator. Or Lyta, of course, dies. And Zod tells Seg that Val will never let Lyta do that. Never let Lyta get killed. And Seg says that wasn't Val. Did you see Val on the picture there at all? No, this is somebody else entirely. And yeah, so Zod thinks twice about this at this point. So Val, in the meantime, tries to talk to Jax out of the plan that she's got going. He goes, you're not really going to kill her, right? She goes, well, if it comes to it, sure. And he goes, no, you can't do that. Otherwise, you become just as bad as Zod. She doesn't really care at this point. She wants Zod to be gone. Yeah, space elevator does sound kind of weird. I know. But, that's the technical term of it. Oh. And she says the only way of getting rid of Zod is to, of course, threaten Lyta. And he says he will not be a part of this. And of course, she says, I thought you were going to say that. Take him away, boys. And so she's got a whole group of rebels that arrest him and bring him down to whatever they're using as a brig or whatever like that. So she was planning this all along. So Dev and Jaina, meantime, infiltrate the Sagittari base. And they're walking in. All the Sagittari are running out. And one of the head Sagittari walks up and said, what are you two doing? And they said, we were out on Outland duty. We found out where Dev and Jaina are, the two traitor scum of the Sagittari. And we need to get this word to General Zod immediately, face to face. And so she tells them where to go, of course, at this point. So that's how they're going in. They're going to walk in that way. Zod agrees in the meantime to remove the troops from Wexlor and to Jax. And then he later on gives the order to have the troops removed or to send them down in the space elevator. In the meantime, Zod is telling Seg that all he wanted from Seg was to make him proud. He wanted to make him proud. And Seg says that if he brings Lyta home, ends the war, then they can start to talk about this. And Zod's like, no, you don't understand me. I said I wanted to do that at one point. Not anymore. You're not important to me, and knocks him out, which is just kind of weird at this point. So Nissa, in the meantime, we see this guard playing around with Adam's Zeta beam there, and Adam's warning her about it's not a toy. And then we see the guard get blasted from behind by a laser blast and goes down. And who is it? But it's Nissa. Nissa breaks out, Kim and Adam, and tells them, go down this hallway down here. There's going to be a trench. You can get the hell out. And they said, what about you? And she goes, I'm going to stay because I need to actually save my son. They still, think I'm on their side. So I'm going to keep doing that. So in the meantime, Zod talks to Jax, confirming that the troops are off Wexlor. And he says before anything else happens, he wants to talk to his mom. Of course, he wants to talk to mommy. So Dev and Jaina get closer to Zod by killing a few more guards of his that are outside his chamber, and they're getting ready to enter that chamber. And it takes them a fucking long time to get to that chamber, obviously, but we'll get to that in a minute. In the meantime, Kim and Adam get lost, and Adam says, well, which way do we go, Kim? So Kim's got this little scanner that he brings up and starts scanning, and he goes, wait a minute, I'm seeing a bunch of warm bodies over here. It's behind the wall. And Adam's like, what, leftover rebels? Are they all still here? What's going on? And then Kim gets this weird look on his face. He goes, we need to go talk to Val, like right now. And they leave and go back. In the meantime, Zod is talking to Lyta and on, over the comm, and says that, she says that she's willing to die for the cause. And he says he's not willing to let her die. And that's when Brainiac shows up again and tells Seg, he goes, do you really think that's true? Do you really think he's true, telling the truth about this? He's a good liar, is what he says. He's a very good liar. Zod thinks anything, almost only thinks about himself. He goes, how did he disarm you? And Seg at this point, they're in their little mind room, if you will. And because Seg is laying down on the couch at one point that we see him, and then he's standing there next to Brainiac and talking. And Seg says, I got distracted by, Lyta on screen. And he goes, yeah, exactly. He goes, Zod was only thinking about himself. And that's all he cares about is himself. And so he's going to do anything that he can in order to win. You, on the other hand, get distracted by other people. And he goes, you can't have that. He goes, the way to win is you have to, essentially kill him. You have to tell Lyta the truth about the reconditioning and then kill Zod before he can do anything about it to counteract it. Which seems like, okay, so basically all you need to do is kill Zod. That's your big brain plan that you got. That's what you came up with. That's the best plan you can come up with, is kill Zod. Yes, we know that. That's what everyone's been trying to do. Thanks, Brainiac. Now we know where that term comes from, Oh, God. Yeah, there's some bad writing in this, too. I mean, it's a SyFy channel show, and we don't have David Goyer anymore on this. I mean, he's executive producer on it, but he's out writing other scripts now. He's not paying any attention to the second season. You can totally tell. Seg yells out as Zod is ending the transmission. He ends the transmission immediately as Seg yells out to Lyta to tell her that, Zod is lying. And he ends the transmission and goes, do you want to get her killed? Is what he says. Yeah, it's a lot of space opera talking. Exactly, Joker. And Seg ends up getting up and trying to kick Zod's ass, a little bit with Brainiac's help, and it's not working. And he's getting choked out by Zod. Zod's like, what? I don't need you anymore. He's choking him. And then Seg flashes back to his time in the Phantom Zone when he saw Zod choking out Lyta. And it's not Lyta, of course, that was getting choked out. It was him. Or the timeline has changed. Actually, that's what it is. The timeline has changed enough where he has not, he was now in the position that Lyta was supposed to be in to begin with. There we go. So that's what A Better Yesterday is all about. So just as he's getting ready to lose consciousness, who comes in but Dev and Jaina? And they tell him to, let the boy go, essentially. And of course, Zod gets up and holds the gun to Seg's head and says, "You know what? I'm getting out of here. No, you're not." Kind of thing. Yes, grandmother, I am. And he throws a knife at Jaina, which Dev ends up catching with his robotic arm. And then he flees and sets off the alarms. Guards, guards, which we thought he killed all the guards, but obviously there's some more guards hiding someplace in the long ass alley that took, Dev and Jaina so long to get down in order to get towards Seg and Zod in the first place. You with me so far in all of this? So Brainiac in the meantime leads Seg. So Seg and Dev and Jaina are walking down the halls, they're walking down the stairs, and Brainiac starts leading Seg and tells him, okay, down the stairs, fire behind you, fire to the left, 1.2 seconds, fire to the right. Two two people are coming in. It's basically like a little video game for him at this point. And Dev goes, where the hell did you get so good? And Seg tells him in the Phantom Zone. So yeah, it's actually a good scene. That's actually a pretty good scene. In the meantime, Kim and Adam return to Jax and tell her that Nyssa freed them. And she goes, "You saw Nyssa?" He goes, "That's not important right now. Take a look at this thing that we found." And he shows them the scanner, and Jax broadcasts out to Krypton again, and she's got Lyta. She's holding her in front of her, and says that Zod is a liar. He did not send any troops back down from Wexlor. He actually sent down rebels in their place, and all the troops are still on Wexlor. They're hiding in the cave. That's what it is. And she says, "So, you didn't care about your mother. So here it goes." And she hesitates for a minute, and Val even calls out to her and says, "Don't do it." And she ends up cutting Lyta's throat. And Seg comes running in to where Zod is at the moment, and he sees all of this as well. And that's where we leave off on the episode. So a couple of good scenes, but nothing that was really like, oh my God, I need to watch this. It's pretty basic sci-fi at this point. And at least we're not getting, well, we still are getting kind of feelings in hallways. But yeah. All right. Dennis, were you a fan of the Harry Potter movies? No. I was too old when that stuff came out. And quite honestly, I was never a big magic fan, if you will. The whole sorcery stuff, unless you had the Conan stuff, Conan Sword and Sorcery, sure. Regular just sorcery stuff, it doesn't do anything for me. So let's see what else. Forget now. That was about it. That's all we got in there. What the Beast one before Johnny Depp? No, I've never seen those either. They're actually really boring to me. I'm sorry, guys, but yeah, I'm not a fan of the Harry Potter stuff. It just doesn't do anything for me. She can't be dead. I'm not even worried, but good cliffhanger. I'm still betting on the clone stuff because like Daxon, I don't think Daxon is dead. And I don't think Lyta is dead either. And not only that, if Lyta is dead, or for that matter, if Seg dies, doesn't Zod just kind of wink out of existence now at this point? Because, Seg and Lyta are his mother and father. So I don't understand where they're going at with this, or how they can do this, but yeah, whatever. Conan and the witch before she turns to a werewolf. Exactly. Yes, exactly. Okay, clones like a matrix form. Well, yeah, they already established that Krypton can do that. They can clone people. We already know that Nyssa is a clone of her former self. Daxon, basically told him that. Told her that, I should say. Could have been a him because they could have just switched genders, clones, whatever. Send in the clones. But yeah, I'm having a feeling that we're going to get a little clone funny business in on all this at this point. They mentioned it and they kind of just left it there in the first episode, and just it's percolating. They left it as a little seed. So probably don't have the budget for a nice scene. Yeah. Well, it's at SyFy. It's NBC Universal. They do not have the budget at all, or they're unwilling to spend the money that's needed for the budget. Yes, I agree. But yeah, I mean, we get Tiny Lobo comes back next week, from what it looks like. I don't know why he comes back next week, but he does. Oh, and we also found out that Brainiac tells Seg that there's a little piece of him left inside of Seg, just a tiny piece of him that's left. He didn't get them all out, and he said that was the only thing that saved Seg from the reconditioning was that little piece of Brainiac that's inside of him. Yeah, just the tip exactly works. Do you have any Brainiac in you? Would you like some? Craptown piece, yeah. I knew you'd be excited for the return of Tiny Lobo. Pen Farm Girl says. You know, quite honestly, yeah, it's kind of sad that I'm actually am excited for the return of Tiny Lobo. It it needs something a little bit more comic booky because right now they're moving away from the comic book stuff and they're going into the space opera, like Joe was saying. And honestly, I don't want space opera. I really don't. We had enough of it with BSG. Battles, the Ronald Moore version of it. There was enough of that without having the sci-fi-ness, I guess you will. Yes, we had some sci-fi moments in this. When she uses that laser beam and just cuts down all the Sagittari, that was awesome. Same thing when, Seg is fighting the Sagittari with Brainiac's help. That was actually kind of awesome. Everything else in between, not so much, you know? So bring some more comic book elements in. I want to see Brainiac. I want Brainiac to have more screen time. At this point, I'm even willing to have Tiny Lobo have more screen time. At this point, Pen Farm Girl says it's stupid, but I really like Lobo a lot more since I looked up who he was. Joker the Third. I wasn't really a fan of Trek as a kid. I had to get older to appreciate it. See, I actually liked Star Trek as a kid. I like Star Wars. I really wasn't. So I was into Star Wars, but I wasn't like into Star Wars like a lot of people are now. I was more of the Star Trek. You know how they say you're either a Star Trek or a Star Wars fan. I was a Star Trek fan, but I also liked Star Wars. So, I had the comics and all that stuff as a kid growing up. I had the original X-wing fighter, the original Luke, the original Darth Vader, Obi-Wan, and yeah, that was it. But my mom, I think, either threw those out or sold them at one point when I was away at camp. So, yeah, good times there. And we moved at the same time too. So, yeah. Yeah, I love Shatner, man. I mean, Shatner with the overacting and the pauses of urgency. Yeah, you're scarred for. Yeah, I am. Solo with the metal. How many Krypton episodes are there this season? I think there's 13. Yeah. I had the Indiana Jones action figure as well with the hat and the whip action where you pull back on the little string whip that he had and the arm would flip forward, and do the little whip action. And I had the swordsman. And I had Tot as well with his little burned hand. Those are the three things I had. I even had the land speeder in R2D2. Man, I mean, I had the original land speeder with the pop-up wheels that would pop up. All gone. All freaking gone. Yeah. Yeah. I thought I wasn't going to like the Raiders from the movie picture. Yeah. Yeah, the 80s had a lot of really good shit in it. It really did, movie-wise. What was I was just watching I had it on in the background again, I was doing my business cards last night for Comic-Con, and it made me laugh. 21 Jump Street. If you've never seen 21 Jump Street with Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill, go and watch it. It's really fucking funny. At one point, Ice Cube is their boss, and he's sitting there and he says he's explaining why the movie got made, really, but he's also explaining why. Actually, no, it's Nick Offerman who is explaining why the Jump Street program is getting revived, and it's because people have no imagination anymore, and they just like rehashing old stuff that they think people don't realize that that's all they're doing is just rehashing the old stuff anymore. And I was just laughing my ass off because I'd forgotten about that line. And yeah, it's pretty much the movie industry right now as we have it. Yeah. Yes, 21 Jump Street and 22 Jump Street are both awesome works. They are very, very good movies. There we go. IMDb lists only 10 episodes. Really? Pen Farm Girl? IMDb's wrong, though, most of the time. It really is. So who knows? If it's 10 episodes, that's fine. I actually, you know what? Hang on a sec. I can tell you because I actually wrote it down in my book. Believe it or not, I have a book that has all my listings on here. And I don't have. Nope, I don't have when it ends. I'm sorry. I thought I did, but I don't. Nope, I just have. Yeah. Okay. There we go. I even made a note to myself too that during Comic-Con there's going to be no reviews, is what I said to myself. So that's what was in my little notebook there. Yes, I carry my notebook around with me because otherwise I can't figure out what the fuck I'm going to do anymore. So with that said, if you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and also hit the bell down below if you want to see when I'm going to be on live again next. You can get my entire schedule up at suspendedfanimation.com. It's also up on my Facebook page. I have a Twitter. I have an Instagram. I have a Patreon, but the Patreon doesn't have any tiers as of yet. I will at some point in time. I just don't have any time at the moment. Anything else I forgot? Tomorrow is going to be iZombie. Friday is Swamp Thing. Saturday is Saturday Morning Blast Off, where I take those genre news of the week, talk about that, and any other genre stuff you guys want to talk about. And Monday is the great but last season of Legion. Oh, I always have someone who doesn't hit the like button. Who always hits the dislike button on, I think it's this one and Legion. I get it all the time. So tears coming, but no tears. Exactly. Yeah, I'm disappointed about the cliffhanger from Swamp Thing. Although Mark Verheiden, the executive producer of Swamp Thing, gave me a like on my on Twitter, which I was pretty giddy about because it was it was just him, Viking Bitch, and Movie Fanobi, which was kind of cool. So always listen to yourself, Pen Farm Girl says. Yeah, you know what? I talk to myself and I always answer back too. So review Comic-Con, Joe says. That's I'm going to be doing panels. I will be posting panels and stuff like that. So what's going to happen is you will see during the day, you'll probably see like little snippets of videos and things like that from my Instagram porting over to Twitter and Facebook as well. And you'll see mostly pictures though that'll be coming in. And then in the evening, when I get a chance to, when I come back, I will be posting up con footage, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, because I have to process it, of course, and run it through and upload it and everything like that. It takes a little bit of time. I am starting on Legion and almost finished with Jessica Jones. Nice. Yeah, Legion, like I said, is not for everybody. Some people like it, some people hate it. There's no in between. There really isn't. I would give you a like if I had a Twitter thingy. I'm sorry you don't have a Twitter thingy, Marks. But maybe you can see a doctor about that. But I'm bummed. I'll be here all week. Remember to tip your waitresses. I just saw her throat cutting scene. Oh. So you're watching it right now. Nice. Send in the clones. Yeah, I don't know, man. I really don't know. So Jax was the one that was in, she was part of the Black Order, but she also was in charge of the Codex at some point. And the Codex is what deals with all the clones on Krypton. So for Jax to maybe have a clone of Lyta, I would not be surprised. Yeah. This week's Legion was pretty different from the usual, but we're still really good. Yeah, it was if you listen in the first 2 episodes of this season, if you listen to everything or read everything from the consequences of time travel that's going on in the 3rd episode, it all comes together as to what the consequences of time travel are and what David does. And of course, he breaks every single rule that he's supposed to. All right, Marks, I'll let you go. I'm going to get out of here myself. I want to say thank you to everybody who's in the chat. Penn Farm Girl, Joe Greer III, Joe, Morks, of course. And I had one other person in here. I think that was it. Okay. All right, everybody. In your Patreon, you should have King Gorilla from Venture Brothers. Fuck you. Give me $1. That's a good idea. That's not bad. So thank you, everybody. And thank you if you made it this far in the video. And thank you to all the new subscribers that have come on. Come on by on Saturday. Saturday is the good one. Well, they're all good, but I mean, Saturday is the fun one, I should say, where we all get together and we talk about all kinds of different shit. And it's always a good time. So thanks, everybody. I'm going to let you guys go for the night. And I will see you tomorrow for iZombie. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may end up getting your throat slit by a woman with a bionic eye, and you may or may not be a clone. We don't really know for sure. And Tiny Lobo might be involved as well. Thanks, everybody. Good night.